Hey guys, it's Barrett with the Gimpy Camper. So I'm going to go through some different stools today that I've used along my journey. I'm going to tell you the benefits of each one and what we use them for and why we think it's necessary to keep a few stools around our RV journey. Now I only keep 2 around right now for very specific purposes, but I want to show you how I ended up getting the 2 that we have, okay? So the number one reason that I use a stool is for hookup, and that's to connect the safety change on my Anderson hitch. And I'll tell you that that's the only thing I have to get in the bed for. And I sometimes kind of think about not going with the safety chains on that, but you know, what are they hurting? You got to get in the bed to hook them up. It's not that big of a deal, especially when you have a stool. So the first stool that we used is the fold-up stool from Walmart. They do have 2 different sizes of these, so you got to be careful with that. One of them's usually in like the cleaning supplies and one's with the home improvement supplies, I believe. But you want the taller of the 2. But I want to show you right now why it might not be such a great idea, especially if you're a big guy like me. I will say it seems to hold my weight okay. You know, this just folds out like that, snaps in place. But you can see I have lost a corner here. That's the only damage to this thing. But I want to say in general, the reason that these fold-out stools aren't very good is because you have to have a semi-level ground to put this on. You know, if you're unhooking your camper and you're on the edge of some pavement or something, you get into some hairy situations. And if your weight's not dispersed correctly, you can have things like this where it breaks off. So this is the first thing that I started with, and I want to show you why I don't use it anymore. So when we go to get in our truck, we put it beside the truck. Like I say, it's fairly flat here, so that's not a big deal. But then we get up here and I always hold on to the side of the truck. And with my soft topper here, I'm always real careful about my fingers because I have had a couple of these stools fall over in the past, which is also why I don't think this is the greatest one, because you use it in areas that's not level, let's just face it. But you always be careful with your fingers. In my day job, I see plenty of people with broken fingers because they wasn't paying attention to what they're doing. So I don't have my fingers in these rails or anything like that, okay? I do kind of hold on here and then I reach over. The problem with this stool is it's not very high. So I can almost reach the chain that I need to. I can almost reach it, but I can't. So what I always did with this one is I always used a piece of this 4x6 block, stand on the edge, and then I stand on the block, and then I can reach what I need. Now it's kind of hairy standing on the edge of the stool, especially the piece that's broke off there, and then getting on the 4x6. So that's why I quit using that one. Now the next tool that I used was this 16-inch Inspired Living stool. It is tall, it's 16 inches tall. And you know, I've had a few issues with this one because it is so tall and it's not very wide up here. And so again, if it's not level, you can have issues. But this is a pretty big step to get up, for one thing. You can also see if your weight, it's rated for 330 pounds. And if you're a big guy, it's usually okay. But if your weight's not dispersed real evenly here, you can have some breakage. I don't know if you can see it, but the handle did crack out there, so that hinged part of the handle's broken. It still works fine. It still folds up. But you have to worry about that whole level thing again. So let's show you what I did for like the next 8 or 9 months of my camping career. So this one you put out, and as long as it's flat, it's usually okay. It's pretty tall step. I'll be sure to have my foot all the way across it and not just standing in the middle of it. But even this, I don't know if you can see it there, but if I just move my weight just a little bit, it tries to go backwards. And it appears that the bottom corner is broken right now. And you probably can't see that, but I'll try to show you what it looks like. But it worked for a little while. So I think this was already like that and I just forgot about it. But this bottom did break under my heftiness. you know, this is just unclipped, which is probably what led to that breaking. But anyway, I'm not going to use this again. I was just holding on to it so that I could show you guys what this was. In case you weighed like 120 pounds and you was looking for a tall stool, this would be an okay option. I got on Amazon. There'll be a link below. They're currently sold out of them though, and not offering them up right now. But be careful if you're a big guy, right? Because we got the brake here and the brake back here. All right, so let's just toss that sucker in the trash. On top of using the stools to get to the chains, the other thing that I use them for is to get up in the bed of the truck. And so that is something else that I need that's relatively stable. I want to tell you the best option that I found for a stool. It's a 2-foot step ladder. This is a Werner. I want to try to find it on Amazon, put a link. I still got the label on here, but it's rated for 300 pounds, but it's a lot more hefty than those plastic stools. Obviously it's not plastic. I will tell you, if I had it to do over again, I would put something under this edge, as you'll see in a minute why. But this edge, I usually let rest on the center hub of my wheel. And on both of the wheels, I thought about it at first, but I didn't think it would be an issue because this is plastic. But it has left a line on my hub. So if you're gonna do something, I'd do something to protect your wheel hub, or even just set something between it, like a piece of foam or something. But all in all, it's pretty stable. I'm also gonna say, most of the time when I use it, when I'm hooking up especially, I do not fold the legs out and I just put it against the truck. And what that does is it takes all that issue with the levelness most of the way out of it. Sometimes it'll be sitting where it's right on the edge of some pavement or something, and that can be an issue. But most of the time, this guy right here is way more stable. Now let's take a look. All right, so what I do is I set this left side on the wheel hub, and the right side I just push up against the tire right there, just like that. And then I just kind of kick it, make sure it's seated well, and then I just walk up. I have more height than I had with any of the other stools. It's also more stable. You do have to be conscious that it could slip out that way. But all in all, that's only happened to me like once. And again, that's why I always watch the placement of my fingers and all this stuff. Now you can, just like when I get in the back of the truck, obviously, put the legs out. And as long as it's a level area, you don't have any trouble getting up like that. So all in all, for me, if you need a little help getting up over the edge of a bed, I still think it's weird because this bed's so tall. I'm 6'4", and I can't get inside it without using this thing. But I do need something, and this has been the best choice in my opinion. So I would just go straight for an option like this if it were me. Now the second type of stool that I use is this stool here, and I just recently got it about a month ago. I don't even remember the brand name. I got it off of Amazon. There'll be a link in the description below. But this has a big, nice platform that doesn't slip. This is weighted for 1,500 pounds. 1,500 pounds. So that means fatty like me is no problem. It also has legs that fold out, and each leg is adjustable. Okay, so it's different heights. So that way if the ground's not too level, it'll still work. Now I bought this for one thing, for one reason, and that's to use with the steps here. I did recently put a lift kit on the camper. You can check that video out when it comes out. But because of that, occasionally, if we had to level with blocks under this side, say we were on a riverbank or something where it's going to be sloped down toward the water, and we had to put leveling blocks under this side of the trailer, that bottom step has to be blocked up a little bit, and sometimes it can be a pretty big step. So I got this in order to use in conjunction with the steps, so we'd have an extra step if we run into that. My only wish is that it was about a foot longer, because the feet line up with the feet for the stairs. And so that's kind of an issue. So what we did last time when we needed it is we offset it a little bit like that. Obviously you don't need it if it's the same height as the stairs here, but otherwise, you know, you step up on this and then you can step up here if it's still too high. So I've been pretty happy with this thing so far. We've only used it on one trip though, but I will say that, you know, those other stools that I had, they're gonna be too high for the function that I wanted with this. And you needed something with this adjustable leg design. That way, if it wasn't quite level, you have a couple of inches here where you can adjust that. So for the purpose of what we're using it for, this is great, but this would not be tall enough, anywhere near tall enough to get in the back of the truck.
Do not forget to hit that subscribe button.